So we'll just very quickly talk about M.M, our firm, so that everyone can put that into context why we talk about this topic. So M.M is a fintech company. It's very deeply rooted in science, and it's basically focusing 100% on providing investment management or investment management support purely based on artificial intelligence. As I say, we are deeply rooted in science. Having a big academic background is very critical for us. We have a total now of about 110 professionals who are working in the data science team directly at M.M, or in a collaboration that we call the M.M Lab, where we work with 6 universities across Europe that help us in building good and solid models and solutions. So we basically do 2 things. We, on the one hand, we do manage money for our clients, but this is purely based on AI. That's about now about $1.5 billion in assets under management, or we make our AI available to clients that they can work with that and use that in a way that will improve their performance. So let's see what the key people in the industry actually say about the use of AI. So I want to start with the CFA Institute has been researching how many investment professionals actually want to use integrate AI in their investment process. And you can see that even within the last few years, it has been risen significantly to 84%. Deloitte also made an interesting or came to an interesting conclusion, saying if you adopt AI, it increases your productivity and increases your assets under management, and it increases your revenue. So there's a lot to say about why it should be part of it. I think we are still at the beginning of this journey, but we see first companies really taking it up, using the AI and making a big difference for their clients through that. So look at some of the biggest investors and most sophisticated investors of the world. So Ray Dalio, the founder of Bridgewater Associates, recently said AI is extremely powerful. At Bridgewater, we use it to work in parallel with our managers to produce better investment decisions. And Kenneth Griffin, the founder and CEO of Citadel, said balancing the influx of new technology like AI with the power of the human mind is key for better decision-making in the financial markets. And here you see something like a theme developing. This is like this working together, AI and human. And I think Bhushan before said, keep the human in the loop. I think within the investment field, I think the human role is stronger than maybe in other places. So why are we talking about this? So look at financial markets. They become more and more complex. So if you go 20 years back, having information was actually a big benefit. Now, this is not a problem. It's finding the right information. And here on this slide, you see a lot of big numbers. I want to just point out 2, like on the bottom here, say 90% of the data that exists today has been produced in the last 2 years. Another one, like this is the amount of data that will be stored by 2025. If you put that all in music, nothing else, you can listen to music for almost 300 billion years. So it's this gigantic amount of data that is there, and it needs to be dealt with. And think about, within investment management, within the financial world, there's never a right outcome of something. So this is why it makes it so complex and so difficult. And so I think this is kind of the biggest challenge we have, that we have some data and, until we really step away, we don't get a clear picture of it. So what's so special on artificial intelligence compared to other quantitative models? So first of all, it works within rising complexity. This is very important. Then it can learn nonlinear relationships. And this is key, since at the end of the day, we always say AI is just a tool. It cannot predict the future, but it can react to a new unforeseen environment extremely quickly. And this is where then also the last of these features come in. It adapts very fast to market changes. And we have seen that, in the last years. Our firm has been around for almost 8 years. And if you think what happened within these 8 years from, Brexit, COVID, war in the Ukraine, etc., many unforeseen events have happened, and we have seen how well AI can adapt to these changes and help investors coming up with better results. So, but also what makes AI now such a big topic is that we really live in an area of AI democratization. That means everybody can use it. So, in the past, AI is really no longer used by those who develop it. And think about, with airplanes, if you had the Wright brothers, they're building the first airplane that was really flying properly with a machine. They flew it as well. You go fast forward, and some of you might have seen, Maverick, Top Gun, great pilot, he couldn't build a plane, but he could fly it extremely well. And so this is what we see right now, that everybody suddenly can use AI. And this makes it very powerful. So the previous speaker talked a bit about the use of ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is basically, it's something where we can use it as a tool. We asked ChatGPT, can you write a non-disclosure agreement? It does that. We showed this non-disclosure agreement also to a lawyer who said it's absolutely usable. But then the key point is not just take it in and as it is, so that you can work with it. So then we said, okay, make it a 3-year agreement. And so, this is that interaction that, we said, don't just take the outcome as it is, unreflected, but use it as a tool that makes your life easier. Another use where we've seen that is a software called Midjourney. So that's kind of a graphic software. And here's an example. So a friend has been asked to develop a cover of a magazine. And so she was saying to Midjourney, generate a new image based on the style of the one touch. So she was attaching, some examples how she was drawing people. But this one is of people skiing in the mountains with a chalet in the background. So, you have the first iteration coming. That wasn't perfect. If you look very closely in the back, we could actually see boats floating around. People are still wearing swimsuits. And so then she said, make it a more of a skiing party in front of a chalet with people wearing skiing clothes like jackets, boots, ski gloves, etc. People shouldn't be at the beach. It's only skiing context. So, that was the next iteration. And so then, she was working through it. There had to be some edits in it. But then at the end, there was some coloring. At the end, it was the cover of a magazine. And so this is kind of the point we are making, that the AI can be a very powerful tool, but of course it has to be used properly. I was thinking, if you think that in a context of something that can help you immensely, freeing up time for your own creativity. So does it apply to the investment world as well? So within the investment world, there are, within an investment process, it starts from idea generation, finding the right information. How do you forecast? What's your risk? What are scenarios you're looking at? What's your asset allocation? How do you optimize the portfolio? So it's a lot of that. And in our case, one of the things we do to deliver the technology to clients is that we have a platform called Sphere, where you can interact just in time, in real time, with the AI that helps you building portfolios, building forecasts, looking at risks in a speed that makes it as a tool that you can even use within a meeting and have a discussion about how you best position your portfolio. So it's extremely powerful. And so investment managers can leverage it very well. So, but the question is then, what's the role of the human expertise in that context? And it's a very important role. So if you look, say, there are two parts. You said that the machine delivers. It's really doing the heavy lifting. It's doing some of the mundane tasks that people could do as well. But of course, AI is doing it quicker. Let's think about if the task is to cut down a tree, right? If a large tree, it has to be felled, otherwise it might crash on your house. So, and the only tool you have available is a nail file. So in theory, you could cut the tree down with a nail file. It would take forever, but the AI is basically the chainsaw that helps doing it. But the chainsaw by itself, of course, wouldn't cut the tree down. You would have to deal with it. You have to use it properly. And so here is then where the human surprises in the way the human would then interact and use the information that's available. So let's look at the investment process. So it starts usually with idea generation, and then you put a portfolio together that reflect your ideas and the risks you want to take. Using AI can then help in various ways. So it can give you, expected return, regime analysis, market indicators, and it's all in a very unbiased, unemotional, independent way, which of course enhances the quality of the input. So having that, then you take it into a portfolio, and then the AI can again help, building a portfolio, looking at constraints you have, looking at other reference portfolios, look at different risk dynamics, etc., and through that improve performance. And we have been able to show that over the years. We've been dealing with our client and then working with our clients' money and developing our algorithms. We can really show exactly how much value is added in each of that steps through using AI. And of course, here then the circle begins again. So, but if within the investment field, it's very clear that humans are always still at the center of every decision. So they use AI as a very powerful tool. It's, it's their chainsaw, but they are still handling it. So one of our clients made a comment which I found is very telling, and it's really to the point. He says, adopting AI in our investment process is giving us an augmented humanity to make better informed investment decisions. And this is really how we see it. It's not taking anything away. It's just making the decisions much better. So let me give you some examples that what we have done with clients. Excuse me. So what here is it's a mid-sized US-based asset manager. I mentioned about $300 billion. And for them, we're looking into helping them with the asset allocation on a midterm and longer term perspective, the portfolio management, the scenario analysis. So in a simplified version, their investment process looked something like this. So at an investment committee, so a group of people, they were deciding how to allocate into different asset classes like equities, bonds, commodities, etc. Then there came in some constraints that had to be adhered to for every fund, like how much should be in certain regions, etc. There was an overarching strategic asset allocation, something that would be set maybe every 3 years, and it went into portfolio. They said it could, and so then the class said, there has to be a better way to do that. And so we added 2 steps here. So we added a risk regime-based forecast, so that helped making the forecast more accurate and more reactive to changes in the market. And then we also helped with the optimization, having a multi-dimensional optimization process. So that gave the portfolio more stability. It made it better in very quickly adjusting to changes into the market. Another one was as an insurance company in the EU, and as you might be aware, insurance companies are heavily regulated. So it's very for them, it's a very complicated way in managing their assets. So they wanted to have something that's very customizable to their own needs. They want to have a combination of AI-based forecasts and other forecasts, and just a better way of managing performance. So this is how it looked at the beginning. So then we added, again, another regime-aware expected return forecast. We added some unbiased tactical indicators, and we also actually managed a portfolio for them. So that was a really interesting process. Also, since the insurance company had planned on doing like this and budgeted about $3 million for it, and a 2-year process that it will take to get to this point. So, but with working with us, they could do that within 3 months, and we unfortunately didn't get paid $3 million for it. So then what are the practical steps to integrate AI into your investment process? And it's really important to think about how that works. And the reason for that is that, it's partly it's mindset related as well. So we said there are three principles. First is customize and integrate. So we also say the AI has to be able to adapt to you, not the other way around. So, we always talk about the adaptability of AI, and if this is not the case, it's not the right partner for you. So it's very, very critical that you don't have to compromise when you use AI. The second one is leverage internal and external capabilities. I mean, you might have remembered from the introduction, how large our team is, how long it took us to get to where we are right now. So having a proper way of using AI within an investment firm is not a job for two people and a laptop. It's much more. What we have seen when we help clients integrating AI is that their internal team was really benefiting from that collaboration with us and learning a lot to do. So it made them much more experts in the field. It also meant, they would be using the AI in a much, much more constructive and effective way. And then the last one, the right mentality. So there has to be a champion within the company who really drives that forward and makes it very clear that AI actually empowers humans. And so finding that champion within the company is also critical. So, if you then take this in the next step when the decision is made to actually use it. So you look at 5 stacks. So it's an exploration phase. So this is what companies do to get a feeling for what's out there, what can it do, then decides, yes, I want to use AI, finding the right partner, and then with that partner working about how the investment process support works, training, and the AI integration. So exploration phase is really seeing what the options are. What is it you want to use it for? Do you need forecasts? Do you need risk assessments? Do you need scenario analysis? Do you need portfolio optimization? Do you need all of that or only part of that? And if you clear what it is, then to find a partner that can deliver you exactly what you want without you making any concessions to that. I think that's what the point about the AI has to adapt to you is very critical here. And then from there on, you basically would sit down with the client or decompose the investment process, look at what steps it can be split into, and then find ways where the AI supports that. Then, of course, you have that. You need to train the models to make sure they fit to exactly the right restrictions given by the clients, and then finally put it in place and get it to work. So that's the last part. This is a question we often get asked. The last part is really between 3 and 6 weeks. You can see it can be done in a reasonably short period of time. It will allow you to use the AI reasonably quickly after you have a decision made that that's something you would like to do. To get started, it's the visionary, the champion within the company is very important to drive that forward to, keeps everybody on track and keeps everybody excited. The teams you need to get involved, it's the investment team, and it's usually not the operations or the IT team. So that really depends how flows data should be delivered, but it's a very light touch way to get exposure to a fantastic new technology. So, I'm concluding with that. Just a maybe quick summary. Where we say AI is just a tool. It's a very powerful tool if it's used properly. If it's integrated within a firm, it will enhance the investment process with using unbiased, unemotional, and independent observations. And it's doing all the heavy lifting. So basically, if you have something that's able for you to sift through all this data, to find solutions, doing that without losing concentrations millions of times every hour, why would you use that tool to improve your investment results? So let's stop here and see if there are any questions.
Thank you so much, Axel, for your valuable insights on the increasing complex financial markets, industry investments, adoption of AI, the concept of AI democratization, and the principle of AI adoption. So thank you so much for your presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting us to your Congress, and good luck with the rest of it.
Thank you so much.